on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 8:06, and we are flying through this final hour here of O'Connor and Company this Memorial Day Friday, and it's going to be a busy one. Coming up in 10 minutes, Mike Litterist will tell us everything you can do on the National Mall and at the monuments for Memorial Day. Also in 30 minutes, the Attorney General of Virginia, Jason Miyares. Of course, Patrice Onwuka is here. And Patrice.
Yes, happy Friday.
If that weren't enough, we've also got Kash Patel here. I mean, this
All
is
right.
Insanity. Kash, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, guys. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Of course, Kash is a former federal prosecutor, deputy assistant to President Trump, former chief of staff for the Department of Defense, also the author of Government Gangsters. And I'll have you know, Kash, at the Naval Academy ball, graduation ball on Wednesday night, I wore my Kash Patel Punisher socks with my tuxedo.
You're the best. You're supporting our foundation. Thank you for doing that.
Kash, you were in New York this week to support the president in his Manhattan trial. I want you to first comment on that, and then we'll talk about the rally. But we're in the final days of this trial, and a lot of people I respect who honestly don't have a vested interest one way or the other, they're now predicting a hung jury in this because of what a debacle it's been for the prosecution. Are you that optimistic?
Well, it should be in a total exoneration, but you're right. It's New York, so we have to take the reality of the jury pool. Look, I tried 60 jury cases to verdict as a prosecutor and public defender in state and federal court. And what I saw was something that I had never even thought could be possible, that the prosecution's case was completely imploded by their own star witness in Michael Cohen's repeated lies. And then Donald Trump was completely exonerated by the only witness they really called in Bob Costello, where he showed Michael Cohen to be an outright liar. And what did the judge do? He kicked everyone out of the courtroom. I've literally never ever seen anything like it. And he chastised the witness for telling the truth. I mean, this thing is as rigged as can be, but you're right, Larry. I think we got a shot at a hung jury because I think one of the jurors, at least one, is going to look at this thing and say, there's no crime here. And now we have evidence of innocence, total exoneration. How can we convict this man? And I think that's the way it's going to go.
Well, I mean, I think that would be good news. And I would hope, too, Kash, that there are regular New Yorkers who'd say, even I'm willing to put aside my own feelings for or against President Trump and just look objectively at the case. And hopefully that's what we'll see. But, you know, turning now to yesterday's rally, I actually have more belief, now that there are New Yorkers, even in Manhattan, who are actually Trump supporters, just based on the rally, the size of the number of people who came out, totally blowing through expectations from the campaign. What was your take on it?
Well, as a New Yorker, as a guy that was born in Queens and grew up on Long Island, I'm proud to see New York show up for the only presidential candidate in this race that actually puts Americans first. And you're right. I guess CNN thought like 5 or 10 people were going to go, and MSNBC thought it was 100, but it was more like 20,000. And that just shows you the support in New York, in Crotona Park, in the South Bronx. We got to remind people who aren't familiar with this. This is one of the worst high-crime neighborhoods thanks to Kathy Hochul and the mayor's administration and Democratic repeated failed policies. And they see Donald Trump as a way of protecting and saving minorities in America and giving them the American dream. And I think what you saw was just an outpouring of support that's going to spread like wildfire throughout the rest of the country.
Kash, part of the president's speech, listen, a lot of this was boilerplate Trump rally stuff, which is never really boilerplate because he goes off script so much. But a lot of it was tailored specifically to this crowd in New York and also, what they represented and who they were. And listen to this part of it.
It doesn't matter whether you're black or brown or white or whatever the hell color you are, it doesn't matter. We are all Americans, and we're going to pull together as Americans.
Kash, is there a shift this election year? Are there sort of a redrawing of political lines here that the Democrats and the media used to sort of rely on and take for granted?
Yeah, the Democrats, as I said at the North Carolina GOP kickoff convention last night, the Democrats have been buying minority votes based on their lies. But there hasn't been no shift in Donald Trump. This brown guy will tell you, after being Trump's top deputy in multiple places and being Trump's current senior advisor for national security and defense, It has never been about race for Donald Trump. It has been about America, America, America. And the mainstream media has just lied about Trump being a racist and Trump not supporting minorities in this country. And you saw that narrative that Trump's a racist being completely shattered yesterday. And the call for unity has been something that President Trump has been championing on the campaign trail. But, of course, the donkeys in the mainstream media will write otherwise because it's a cheap headline. It's a grab that says, look, Donald Trump's still a racist, so you can't believe what he's saying. But 25,000 minorities proved him wrong in New York City yesterday.
You saw a full court press this last week with your old friend James Comey, the former director of the FBI. He's out there talking about how, I don't care if you don't like Donald Trump, you got to vote for him, otherwise it's the end of the Constitution. And it's funny, he was saying, if Trump gets in there, he's going to make wholesale changes in the Justice Department and the FBI. And I'm like, oh, please don't make promises you can't keep. Kash, can we count on that?
Look, I think you can count on President Trump to fix and annihilate the deep state. And it's ironic that James Comey, the guy who authorized the illegal Russiagate collusion hoax in the first place, who signed the illegal FISA warrant, who faked evidence before a federal judge just to get a warrant against a political opponent he didn't want to see become president, is now going out there and lecturing America on who to vote for and what law enforcement positions to take. President Trump has always exposed the deep state in the swamp, none more so than creatures like James Comey, Merrick Garland, Andy McCabe, etc. And now, of course, they're afraid that President Trump is going to go in there and fix it. And by fix it, he means take away their $1 million golden parachute that is Washington, D.C., and take away their relevance and expose them for their criminal corruption.
Yeah, Kash, I'd like to see that not just in the Justice Department, but frankly across all of the different federal agencies. I'm hopeful that a next Trump administration would take a huge axe to all the jobs, many of the jobs here in Washington D.C. and the bureaucracy. But thinking big picture, when it comes to all these different cases that the president is facing, we're seeing them falling apart right, left, and center. And I think the American people see the lawfare. Do Democrats have anything left to run against the president with at this point?
Well, that's what I warned this convention here last night and when I was in Temecula at the Stampede yesterday with Eric Trump. The Democrats and the deep state always have something in the chamber. And I don't know exactly what it is, but we have to fight them with the truth. And we have to combat them with the truth that we were right about Russiagate. We were right about January 6th. We were right about the 51 Intel letter. And they're the ones that continue the disinformation campaigns to rig elections. We have a track record of the truth. They have a track record of the lies. And so whatever they throw our way, they're going to throw something else after these trials. I think we're better prepared than we have ever been to combat it.
Kash, real fast, one other story this week was the revelation that the FBI warrant to raid Mar-a-Lago included a language that allowed them to use lethal force if necessary. There have been some who say, this is boilerplate, this is standard operating procedure, and that may be true. I want law enforcement to be able to protect themselves. But since the Attorney General himself signed off on this had to have a lot of eyes looking at it. Wouldn't it have been standard operating procedure, considering this is a former president, which is anything but standard, for them to sort of be a little circumspect and say, hey, guys, maybe we should tweak this a little bit, considering there's a Secret Service detail down there. We don't want to shoot out at the Mar-a-Lago Corral.
No, you're exactly right. Yeah, I mean, you don't need to be a lawyer to pick this up. There's nothing standard about the unlawful raid at Mar-a-Lago, and this Justice Department came in, basically lights ablazing, wanting the pictures, wanting the media shots, and wanting the headlines. And they could have simply taken this verbiage out, that whether or not it's standard is irrelevant, that they were going down to a former president's house, who's the presumptive nominee to be the president again. They could have just taken the language out about deadly force. It wouldn't have mattered. What was going to happen down there? Was Secret Service and these boxes of papers going to start shooting at federal agents? I mean, it's an absurdity, but they wanted the cheap media headline, and now they want the cheap media response to say, how dare they call us out on this? How dare you not look at a warrant against a president that was suspect to begin with in its legality and just say we should tone this thing down because Secret Service is there, because he's a former president? I think Americans are picking up on the absurdity of DOJ's position.
Kash Patel, Government Gangsters is the name of the book, and it describes what we're dealing with here. Also, of course, the children's book author, Kash Patel. If Government Gangsters is a little over the tykes' heads, you can include, what is it, the plot to kill the king? No, the plot to...
The Plot Against the King, but Government Gangsters, the movie, comes out next month.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You got, how busy can you be? Listen, the one thing that I look for, Trump wins the election. One thing I'm really interested in is what role will Kash Patel have in this administration? No matter what it is, it's going to drive Anderson Cooper crazy, and so that makes it good. Thanks, Kash. Enjoy your
Kash.
Memorial
Have a great
Day.
day.